Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is about why censor judges make very good administrators. I think that most people have noticed that depending on a person's personality type, they tend to do better in certain fields compared to others. And when it comes to censor judges, is that they are the type to be very reliable, reachable, organized, they like to plan, they like security. And what you'll see is that let's say if you have an organization, they are very good at logistics. So in terms of having an idea and knowing how to implement it in a real world. So these are the type of people who know how to do schedules, to know how to implement little nuances about how you can actually take an idea that is maybe just abstract and know if it's going to work with the real world and real people. So the other aspect when it comes to censor judges is that they tend to have fast brainwaves. So in terms of the four main personality types, they have the fastest. So it means that they are mostly focused on the five senses. And that's why they're good at remembering details. So if you want maybe the history of, let's say, a country or an organization or anything that has to do with the past, they're good at keeping data. And they can easily find it and know if it all makes sense. So these are people who are good at being administrators, but also they're very good at being, let's say, anything has to do with detail-oriented work. And they have a long attention span. So these are people who would be even good at as lawyers, at obviously bookkeepers, accounting. They also are good in terms of being teachers, like especially let's say if you look at elementary school, even high school as well, because you need to be organized and school start at a certain time, finish at a certain time. So anything has to do with rules, regulations, and following like a formula, they usually are good at doing that. And also these are people who like traditions, so they are going to be the type of people who like to have, let's say, Thanksgiving dinner at the same place with the same people, and they like to keep sort of history. So they like the idea of passing down to other generations what they have learned. So they tend to be conservative in their views, but also you see a difference between the masculine and feminine type. So the feminine type will be rather nurturing. Actually, what is interesting is that even though they are very much about the five senses, the feminine type has the most feminine sort of way of dealing. So they tend to be very nurturing. So that's why I think that some people get confused when it comes to being a censor judge, because they say, well, I'm very empathetic, so very right brain dominant, but yet they're still conservative. When it comes to, let's say, a censor judge who's a masculine type, they're the very masculine type. So they have extrovert thinking, their first or second function stack. So they come across as more rigid than the other personality types. And when it comes to a censor judge who's a feminine type, they have extrovert feeling, their first or second function stack. So they are the type to come across as the most nurturing and also like to hold on to family traditions more than the other types. So for all these reasons, that's why the censor judges tend to be good when it comes to administrative work and anything that has to do with implementation of ideas. And because the theme of the lives of censor judges is duty and tradition, they don't mind doing work that might appear uninteresting to other personality types, especially the censor perceivers, because censor perceivers, the theme of their life is movement and freedom, which is the opposite of the censor judges. So that's why you'll see that they usually clash. The censor perceivers come up with the original idea, they're the creative, and when it comes to knowing if it's going to work in the real world, they let the censor judges implement and know if it's going to be successful long term. So someone needs to administer this new project or this new business, and usually the censor judges are the best at doing that. So I trust this information was interesting. Maybe you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.